Information about upcoming developments via Little Tevat and Genshin Meow. Spiral Abyss buffed in 4.4/4.5. See, this is why I fucking hate leakers. And like, this isn't meant as like like, ooh, you leaker. What does that mean? Does that mean it's harder? Does that mean you get buffed? Does that mean there's new floors? I don't know. What does buffed mean? The Spiral Abyss is not a character. There is no such thing as a spiral. What the fuck does that mean? What do you mean by this? Okay, some 5-star weapons may be sold directly in the form of gift packs. So that is something that we had heard about before. Again, I really hope that this isn't premium currency only. Hell, in Star Rail, and again, right, I'm comparing it to Star Rail because it's an easy comparison to make, right? In Star Rail, they don't have fucking Blackcliff garbage, but you can buy the 5-star weapons from this shop. And I've talked about this before. Blackcliff weapons have lost their luster. They're not what they used to be. If they do add it here, I will be very happy because I've got a lot of this. Currently, they are advancing the design of the new banner. Unlike the ordinary character banners, this version is associated with the release date, character birthdays, and anniversary events. Additionally, a new mechanism for pulling secondary products, like Star Glitter, will be introduced. So basically, what this means is, do not use your standard wishes when you get them. Stop using your wishes, because they might add a new form of currency you get from dupes and shit like that. And they're probably not gonna make it work retroactively. Like, if you want a banner character, sure, go for it. But like, these Acquaint Fates, you should hold them. If it's true. And there's no real downside if it's not, right? So, I've already made a standard weapon tier list. However, the reality is that how good the weapon is doesn't necessarily correlate to whether or not you should purchase it if it does become available, right? So, I'm going to look at assuming they add an actual way to purchase weapons for in-game currency that is not just directly tied to money. And I'm gonna, it's not really tier them, but just separate them in different categories, right? So, we're gonna start in the don't tier with Skyward Spine.
Water comes in many
I think it's the only weapon that never really would be worth it. At its best, it's a catch side grade, and you already have catch. It's definitely not worth getting. Good on a good character. Or good on a great character. Good on a good character. Decent. Kinda cope. Or good on a whatever character. Alright, so obviously, Skyward Sword and Aquila are best in slots interchangeably depending on the situation. Wouldn't buy them when I could just use Sapwood, and that's fine. You don't need to buy them. It's just, isn't Bennett's best in slot Mistsplitter? Yes, but it's not really a significant upgrade over Aquila. Alright, Amos, good on a whatever character, right? Aquila shouldn't be that high up because it's only him that uses it. That's like Jade Wing Spear on Xiao. Well, no, it's not like Jade Wing Spear on Xiao. Because Xiao is not Bennett. Oh no, you only use it on a character that you basically always use. That means you basically always use it. The reality is that there are way too many characters that like Bennett. As a free-to-play, if I get 2 copies of a signature, should I refine it or upgrade both? It depends on the signature, but almost always it's better to just keep both. Isn't that most good for Ganyu? Yeah. I disagree. Nowadays, characters don't need Bennett much.
The water.
Like, not every every team uses Bennett, but most characters in the game have one of their best teams with Bennett. Like, I get what you're getting at, right? It is true that Bennett isn't like he was in 1.0, always going to be a part of your 2 best teams. Like, that's fair. He's also still... I don't think Bennett is as good as Singto. But I think that Bennett is a character that is going to be used by more people than... by more types of people than Singto. Because you can whale your way out of Singto being the best option in your teams. You can't whale your way out of Bennett being the best option in your teams. But yeah. Wolf's Gravestone is gonna be in kind of cope. Along with Skyward Pride. The main issue with these weapons is just that they just don't give you that much. It's not in don't, because, like, if you're a free-to-play Navia main, right, Wolf's Gravestone is going to be a slight increase over the Mega Magic Sword. Skyward Pride is only good on Femine, right? I mean, it's also decent on Navia. But it's not good on her. It's okay on Ella. But it's not, like, it's not a good weapon. Skyward Pride could be in don't, just because if you can buy both, then you can choose the one you buy, and there would not really ever be a reason to go Pride over Wolves. Alright. Then you have the Catalyst options, which I will put in good on a good character. Mainly, they're pretty good options on, like, Risley, Klee. Yeah, question mark? Lost Prayers is good on Neuvillette, but only if you don't have a lot of crit rate in your subs. Which isn't the case for me. Like, at all. Like, at all. Like, at all. Yeah, so I can't really use it, but, like, they're pretty good. And then Jade Spear, good on a whatever character.
I see the value in my own work, but
Harp, I think, is a bit more difficult to rank. Because, while it is good on good characters, it's also often not actually much better than the 4-star options. Right? Like, it's good on Official, so is Stringless, and in Aggravate teams, they're basically interchangeable. But it's still pretty good, so I think it goes bottom of this tier. Yeah, like, the biggest issue with Harp is that, while it is a good general weapon to have, because it basically works on everyone, you don't need to get it if you already have a few of the good 4-star options. Because, like, on Yoimiya, it's not really better than Rust. On Official, it's not really better than Stringless. And so it's like, it's good on what? It's good on Child. A little bit better than his other options. It's alright on Technari. That's kind of it, really. Right? Fav. It's fine on Sarah, actually. Rust. Melt Hamayumi. Freeze Proto Crescent. It's good on Child. Fav or Stringless Amber. Right? Like, I guess it is also pretty good on Lenny. So, that's really, to me, what prevents it from being here. Is that it is good, but it is often not much better than a lot of the options that you might have. So it's maybe worth getting if you don't have the other options, but otherwise, yeah. I can put it here, I guess. I don't know. Atlas is way too high? Why? I definitely disagree with that. Atlas is worse than Lost Prayers? I mean, in some situations it is. But unlike Lost Prayers, it gives you something that is not crit rate. Which means it can actually work even if you have a lot of... Even if you're on Maréchal say and you have crit rate substats. It also is a good option on characters like Yai that can't really spend any field time and get stacks on Lost Prayers. I think it's fair to say that they're about as good as each other because in some situations one is better, in some situations the other is better. Like, I could do this, I don't really care. I think they're about as good as each other. Right? Because, Skyward has the downside that it doesn't work on non-attack scaling characters. Or it's not as good, at least. But also, I use Amber over... Well, not this one. I use Amber over my R2 Lost Prayers on Neville, right? Because my R2 Lost Prayer wouldn't be very good on him. Does Lost Prayer passive disappear if you switch out? Yeah. It's a bit weird. Basically... Right, you can see how many stacks of it you have based on, yeah, the shiny little things that appear, right? Now I'm on 2 stacks. 3 stacks. 4 stacks. But if I do this, I already start with 1 stack and then 2 stacks here, right? Basically, the timer, it keeps ticking even if you're off field. So you can swap in right before you get your stack. So on average, you start with half a stack. Because on average, it's about a 50-50. It takes about half of the time to get your first stack, right? Okay, well, because it's every what? Every 4 seconds, right? So when you swap, it's a 25% chance to be in the first second, so 0 to 1, which is 0.5 average. A 25 to be 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. Which means that the amount of time that will have elapsed on average since like into or you can look at it as the amount of time that's left will be on average 2 seconds of the 4. So you'll get your first stack on average after 2 seconds rather than 4. And then your second stack's 4 seconds. This interaction is why you can assume that you don't get 0 stacks on stuff like Yai Burst.